watching ABC 26 News. We'll be back with much more news tonight at 10.
Right now, stay tuned for World News Tonight and the latest on the Kenneth Starr report. That's up with Peter Jennings and World News Tonight in just a few moments.
ABC 26 News, recognized for a second year in a row by the Associated Press as the best newscast in Louisiana. ABC 26, WGNO, New Orleans. And this is ABC 26 News.
Boxed and delivered, Kenneth Starr's report now sits under lock and key. Good evening, I'm Brad Giffen.
And I'm Liz Reyes. Now the House must decide if those papers will lead to impeachment for the president. ABC's Andrew McCarran is in Washington with the latest on Ken Starr's report to the House.
Tonight, leaders of both parties are gearing up to consider a complicated issue, whether to impeach President Clinton. President Clinton ended his day the way he began it, offering an apology for his behavior in the Monica Lewinsky matter. In the morning, it was to House Democrats. In the afternoon and again in the evening, Florida Democrats heard his plea for forgiveness.
I hope that you and others I have injured will forgive me for the mistakes I've made.
The president's latest act of contrition came just hours after independent counsel Kenneth Starr delivered 36 boxes of documents to Capitol Hill. The boxes contain his case against the president.
The Office of Independent Counsel submitted a referral to the House of Representatives containing substantial and credible information that may constitute grounds for impeachment of the President of the United States.
The documents are now being protected by an armed guard in a House office building. Sources familiar with the investigation say the boxes contain a 240-page narrative of events and a 160-page analysis alleging the president violated his oath of office by committing perjury and obstructing justice. According to sources, the report focuses almost entirely on the president's relationship with Monica Lewinsky.
We do know this: there is no basis for impeachment.
The House Rules Committee is now crafting a resolution to release the bulk of the report to the public by Friday. Reporting live from Capitol Hill, I'm Andrea McCarran. Now back to you.
Thanks, Andrea. And Andrew McCarran live in the nation's capital.
Well, now that Capitol Hill has the case against Clinton, Ken Starr's evidence will become public. So if the news is out, will the president be out too? ABC 26's Kurt Sprang has some opinions in tonight's Voices of Louisiana.
It's a St. Charles hotspot, and tonight one of the hot topics here is the latest development in the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal. Everyone knows the president confessed, but will the evidence make him a criminal? Some say the president's mixed message alone means he must go.
You can't have family values and do what he has done and teach your children or anyone else that it's right or wrong. I mean, it's wrong.
But other people say impeaching this president would be bad politics. They're expecting an expert escape act.
I think whatever he says goes.
As soon as Congress discusses the case, the information will be out in the open. But most of Louisiana's delegation in Washington is not commenting on today's delivery. They're waiting for more facts. Only Republican Congressman Bob Livingston would speak out, saying he believes the report should be made public as soon as possible. The American people have the right to know.
This is the look that
At a downtown mall, John Jones is doing some shopping. Jones is in the Army and says he'd get court-martialed if he acted like the president. So he wonders what will happen if the president faces charges as the commander-in-chief of the military.
Anybody that would be willing to jeopardize that position and their position of responsibility by having affairs and otherwise are going to have other problems, whether it's lying or hiding evidence. You can't change somebody's character.
Up until today, most people we'd interviewed said they were tired of hearing and talking about the scandal. But now that the evidence is on the way, there is a renewed interest. Brett.
All right, Kurt Sprang, live in our news center. Thanks. And you can see more on Ken Starr's report to Congress on the Monica Lewinsky matter on Nightline, right after ABC 26 News.
Well, we'll be plotting the newest tropical storm in the Gulf a little while longer. Meteorologist Bruce Katz is in the Weather Center with the latest. Bruce?
All right, thank you very much, Liz. Well, from 5 o'clock, a couple of changes now. The center has been posted a little farther south and west of where we had it at 5 o'clock. In fact, take a look at the latest coordinates, 23.5 north, 95.5 west, putting it now well to the south and southeast of Brownsville. It's stationary, winds at 40 to 45. We will continue to watch it, and at this point in time, it is still stationary, but it looks like tomorrow more of a westward drift, so far so good, but still we're not out of the woods. I'll be back to let you know again the forecast track plus what we can expect from the storm in a few minutes. Liz, back to you.
Okay, thanks, Bruce, and we will have much more on Francis, as Bruce said, in just a few minutes.
And a New Orleans East mom whose 4-year-old daughter wandered lost in the rain after school says she's going to teach her daughter's school a lesson. Little Jonisa Caston spent the afternoon at the 7th District instead of home because she got on the wrong bus after school. The toddler got off the bus with some other kids in eastern New Orleans and walked around crying until a man doing lawn work took the sobbing child to police. The girl's mom says Gaudette Elementary School is to blame for the mix-up, not her daughter.
Teachers supposed to be on their job and put the children in line in order for them to get on the bus to go home. My baby is 4 years old. She is in kindergarten. She's supposed to get lost. She don't supposed to get lost at all.
Caston says she'll take action against the school, although she wouldn't say exactly what.
Tonight, a Hammond woman faces criminal charges for leaving her newborn baby in a hospital bathroom to die. 20-year-old Kamifa Johnson left her baby in the toilet of the Charity Hospital in Independence last week. The sheriff says the baby was born alive. Now Johnson is charged with negligent homicide.
A presidential commission is on the Gulf Coast tonight, getting ready for a public hearing on legalized gambling. The panel is traveling the country, weighing the pros and the cons of casinos. And Paul Murphy is in Biloxi right now with the rest on this story. Paul.
Well, Brad, just take a look over my shoulder, and you can see this is no longer the sleepy little Gulf Coast of 20 years ago. Casinos like these are responsible for billions of dollars in economic growth since gambling became legal here 8 years ago. The Gambling Commission comes to town at a time when the casino industry is under attack by those who want to ban it.
It's a miracle!
They call it the Mississippi Miracle. The casino industry is pulling out all the stops to make a good impression on the National Gambling Impact Study Commission. The 9-member panel will hear testimony in Biloxi tomorrow on the impact of gambling on communities across America. One group is working to outlaw casinos here. So gambling supporters held a rally tonight touting what the industry means to the Gulf Coast.
Created over 54,000 new jobs with an annual payroll of how much? $1.1 billion.
Casino workers put it in more basic terms.
Food on the table, a place to live, a better environment.
Some Biloxians tell a different story. They talk about an increase in crime, prostitution, and gambling addiction since the casinos opened. This is also a sign of the times. Pawn shops like this one now dot the landscape. There are 5 pawn shops for every casino along the Gulf Coast for gamblers who run out of cash.
Just needing that $100 to go back, win their money back, so they can break even.
Jackie Piles runs a pawn shop just off the main drag.
Gold, diamonds, you know, anything they think that we will take. Unfortunately, it has gotten bad enough at times that people has even tried to sell their children.
Now, Biloxi leaders acknowledge the downside, but they say on par, they have a positive story to tell. They'll get a chance to tell it when the Gambling Commission meets tomorrow morning at the Mississippi Coast Coliseum. Brad?
All right, Paul Murphy, live from the Gulf Coast. And New Orleans is the next stop for the panel Friday.
A push to get this stop gets a powerful backing in the Big Easy.
Plus, help arrives on the scene of disaster, but new clues are already surfacing.
In a stranded driver spotted in the nick of time. Those stories and more news ahead on ABC 26 News.
Brad Giffen, Liz Reyes, meteorologist Bruce Katz, Ed Daniels with sports. This is ABC 26 News. ABC 26 News is the only newscast in New Orleans to win 2 Emmy Awards this year. The only newscast voted best in Louisiana for the past 2 years. The only newscast delivering more news in every newscast. And starting September 21st, ABC 26 News gives you more news at a new time. News at 6. Now, watch ABC 26 News, weeknights at 5, 6, and 10.
Violent crime and drugs, a threat to our families. That's why we need Judge Martha Sassone for Court of Appeal. The Metropolitan Crime Commission praised her hard work and effectiveness in moving criminal cases to trial quicker and locking up convicted criminals sooner. Performance, not family name or political connections, are what count in deciding who to promote. Martha Sassone for Court of Appeal. Performance over politics.
My obligation is to put Louisiana first, and we've always tried to do that.
Putting Louisiana first. It's why John Breaux worked for a balanced budget that cuts federal spending, supported real welfare reform that puts people to work, voted for tax cuts so working families keep more of their paycheck, and wrote the law for IRS reform that protects taxpayers. Breaux will keep on working for Louisiana by saving the budget surplus to protect Social Security and working to keep Medicare secure for the future. John Breaux, putting Louisiana first.
Do you like surprises?
Who is this?
So does Elle magazine.
I certainly didn't plan to like a sitcom with the unfortunate name of Sports Night. Sit! I'm sorry, that was harsh. I hurt your feelings.
Sports Night?
Excuse me, if anyone needs me, I'll be hurling myself out the window. The pure magic of a well-told story.
No one can bridge the show but you. Surprised?
I'm totally in love with this show.
Sports Night for jocks and Jills.
ABC Tuesday, September 22nd.
Thank you.
You're watching ABC 26 News.
Tonight, word of an imminent vote on a flag amendment is winning praise from the American Legion Convention in New Orleans. Nearly all of the American Legionnaires in town this week are behind a constitutional amendment to protect the flag.
We have sacrificed many lives, sweat, blood, and tears for this great country of ours.
You don't have to burn a flag to make a statement. Just say what you have to say. That's why they gave freedom of speech.
The flag amendment is working its way through Washington. The House has already passed it. The Senate is scheduled to vote soon. Also, conventioneers heard from Secretary of State Madeleine Albright. In her address, she reaffirmed the U.S. commitment to fight terrorism, citing recent airstrikes in Sudan and Afghanistan.
Tonight, a Houston man faces kidnap and assault charges for taunting police into a standoff. The suspect sparked the 12-hour ordeal when he forced his ex-wife into a neighbor's home at gunpoint. The ex-husband held her hostage while he held off a SWAT team. Police stormed the house to end the standoff. The woman was freed unhurt. California cops are investigating a gang drive-by shooting that critically injured a 9-month-old baby. Cops say the shooters opened fire on rival gang members outside this building but missed. Instead, the baby in this van was hit in the face. Her 7-year-old sister suffered minor injuries from flying glass. Tonight, cops are searching for the shooters.
The Navy salvage ship Grapple is all set to start helping in the recovery of wreckage from Swissair Flight 111. Today, divers located a piece of a burned seat from the cockpit. Investigators say it could help lead to the cause of the crash. Meanwhile, Swissair and Boeing are looking over the first lawsuit filed because of the disaster. Former boxing champ Jake LaMotta filed a $50 million lawsuit. His son died in the crash. 2 Las Vegas women are high and dry tonight, but the pair nearly got swept away this morning by rising floodwaters. As water began pouring into the car, a police helicopter spotted the stranded car and the 2 women and put the chopper right down on the car's roof. The co-pilot jumped out and pulled both women to safety. No one was hurt.
The water faucet is off and bottled water sales are up tonight in one Kentucky town. The town's health department is warning people there not to drink the water. Recent tests found large amounts of roundworm eggs and other contaminants in the water supply in Russellville, Kentucky. Several people, including children, have gotten sick with everything from stomach aches to diarrhea. New tests this week should reveal whether the problem has been solved. A new $5 billion global communication system is on its way to outer space. It's one of 5 satellites blasted into orbit by NASA aboard a Boeing Delta II rocket. The Delta II is similar to one that blew up over Florida last month. Today's launch went off without any problems.
Meantime, stocks soared out of the world yesterday, but today many of those gains burned up on re-entry. Traders saw a triple-digit drop on Wall Street as stocks plummeted 155 points. Worries over the world economy and speculation about Ken Starr's report helped bring stocks down. Another overcast day, or will the sun come out tomorrow? Meteorologist Bruce Katz has a forecast and an update on Francis next.
And after weather, babies made to order, male or female. And it's happening right here.
And you, the jury, have heard countless testimony that proves this man is guilty of doing great transmission repairs at a fair price and has the best warranty in the business.
Has the jury reached a verdict?
Yes, Your Honor.
Guilty!
We're all guilty.
We all do great work at a fair price.
And we're guilty of having the best nationwide warranty in the business.
Frank, I sentence you to life at the Cotman Institute for Great Transmission Repair. Case closed.
Cotman. Expect the best. You deserve it.
An employee gets hurt. What's a workers' comp company supposed to do about it?
Have a statewide network dedicated to treating occupational injuries.
LWCC's got one.
OMNET.
Only one of its kind.
They monitor every patient's progress. Lots of doctors, hospitals, and pharmacies.
I saw a specialist right away.
With OMNET, injured employees receive treatment faster.
They've even opened a website.
I'm back.
Call your agent.
LWCC. It's how workers' comp is supposed to work.
Domino's Pizza presents the 1998 Gormley Gridiron Classic, Saturday, September 12th. See the Nickel State Colonels take on the Delta Devils of Mississippi Valley State at Tad Gormley Stadium in City Park. Kickoff is 7 p.m. It's college football back under the stars. Come early to the Budweiser tailgating party with music by the Bucktown All-Stars. There'll be plenty of food, beverages, and interactive games for the kids. The fun starts at 3 p.m. Tickets on sale at all Ticketmaster locations and at the gate. For more information, call 483-9496.
Coming up, updated weather readings from local Wendy's weather stations.
Oh, I'd like as much as they can put on it.
A lot of cheddar.
How much cheddar is enough?
Tons of it.
There's nothing better than cheddar.
So Wendy's new Cheddar Lovers Bacon Cheeseburger is loaded with cheddar.
A lot of cheddar on that burger.
Woo! Along with a quarter pound of fresh beef.
This is one heavy cheddar burger.
3 strips of hickory smoked bacon and sauteed onions. There are 2 slices of rich cheddar plus a creamy cheddar cheese sauce.
There you go.
Very cheesy.
Wendy's new Cheddar Lovers Bacon Cheeseburger. You're gonna love it.
When I lay awake at night, this is what I think about.
ABC 26 weather with meteorologist Bruce Katz.
Well, today a rainy day on and off, kind of breezy as well. Temperature's not that hot due to the clouds and rain, but we are going to watch still Francis in the Gulf of Mexico. In fact, we've got some changes from the 5 o'clock report. Now, the Hurricane Center has sent the plane out again this evening, and right now it looks like the center has been shifted again a little bit farther off to the south. Now, earlier it was pretty much due east of Brownsville. Now it's east-southeast, and if you'll notice on your tracking chart at 23.5 north, 95.5 west, winds up to 45. They were at 40, so it has gained a little bit of strength as the pressure has fallen just a little. Now, we don't want to tell you that it's shifted southward. The system is not moving southward at all. It is stationary, but what's happening is, as we put the actual satellite in motion, you can pretty much see for yourself what's going on. Notice it looks like maybe a little rotation just to the south of New Iberia. Right up in here, then another one was over the area just east of Brownsville. Now it's shifted a little farther south, if you'll notice up in this area here. So, again, we're getting little pockets of centers that the hurricane plane is flying around the Gulf of Mexico, trying to get a distinct center itself. It's a very, very broad area of low pressure. That's what the discussions are saying, that the forecasters are in the planes are telling us. So at this point in time, you'll notice a little flare up in the center here. This is not the center itself. Now they're saying it's farther south and southeast. So at this point in time, we will continue to watch. Now take a look at the radar. Still flood watch is in effect, and we'll show you the parishes included with that. But we are going to see rain moving in tonight at about 50 to 60%. Some of the showers moving in could be a little bit heavy, and as you can see, wrapping around the entire coast all the way down to Brownsville. And speaking of Brownsville, here's the radar site, but notice down to the south and east, this is the area that they're looking at with a possible rotation here, as the center was up here earlier. Now it's been shifted down to the south. So we will continue to watch. At this point, it is a long way away from Louisiana, with all the rain, as mentioned, down to Morgan City and Houma, Port Sulphur to New Orleans to Slidell, all under flood watches. At this point, we haven't had enough rain to cause any problems, but with the anticipated possible rains moving in, we may see some flooding problems. So stay tuned to ABC 26. Like Earl, we were here through the long haul, and if this one calls for it, we'll be here again. Let's show you what's happening outside right now. 10 o'clock readings, light rain at the airport, 79 at Audubon, 79 at Kenner, 77 in Slidell. Humidity, it's up there at 91%. Pressure rising with east winds blowing at 6 miles per hour. Let's go back to the maps and show you what's happening. Look farther north, very dry air moving in with a big cold front that's brought temperatures very, very chilly, in fact, into the low 50s around Memphis, Tennessee. Tonight, Shreveport, 59 degrees. No such luck around here, though. The front, it's pretty much stalled on out, and with that, high pressure moving in, the low in the Gulf, we're going to see a strong pressure gradient indicating we are going to have the possibility of coastal flooding anywhere from Pearl River all the way down to Grand Isle with coastal flood watches in effect. Farther west for southwest Louisiana, the winds are causing flood warnings. So still not much around New Orleans, much of a problem at this point, but with the winds continuing to move into St. Bernard and Plaquemines Parish, heading on down to Lower Jefferson near Grand Isle, we are going to see some buildup with the tides, so be on the lookout for that if you have interest along that area. And tonight, the interest in the Gulf, we will watch anywhere from Brownsville all the way to Florida. The storm looks like it will continue off to the west-northwest. Still a little bit iffy. It is stationary at this point, but it does look like in the next 24 to 36 hours, somewhere Tampico to Brownsville now. So we are sitting pretty at this point. Here's your forecast then for tonight. Flood watch in effect still with the anticipated rain at 60%, 74 to 77 the overnight low. By morning, spotty showers could see a storm at 79. By midday, 80% chance of rain. Have that umbrella handy. High in the low 80s and overnight lows tomorrow night with still showers at 71 to 76. Looking into the weekend, we are hoping the system moves into Texas. Along with that, by the end of the period, drying weather for Friday, Saturday, into Sunday. Heading offshore, stay put with the Gulf. It is pretty breezy. East winds at 25 to 35 knots and 10-foot seas. So it looks like we're getting into an Earl pattern, repositioning the center farther away from New Orleans at this point. But again, tomorrow we'll check it. Even on Good Morning America, Tom Bagwell will have the latest as well.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you, Bruce. Well, new technology means no more guessing if it's a boy or a girl. Researchers in Virginia now have a new DNA technique to help parents select their baby's gender. But doctors in New Orleans have been doing the same thing for 14 years, they say, separating sperm for artificial insemination. Local researchers say their technique may not be cutting edge, but it is less expensive. Doctors are excited, but they're cautious.
Will tell us whether or not this is a new technology that's better than our old technology.
People opposed to gender selection say it's immoral and unethical. The former star of the movie Free Willy is on a real-life adventure to freedom tonight. 9,000-pound Kiko, the killer whale, was airlifted by a special sling for a trip which will end in Iceland. His starring role in the 1993 movie Free Willy sparked a campaign for his freedom. Now, 5 years later, he's going to be carried by a C-17 cargo plane to a special pen in the waters in a protected bay in Iceland. And there, marine biologists will work for several months rehabilitating Kiko for what they hope will be his eventual release into the open ocean.
Well, Crescent City travelers tonight have a new airline ready to fly you several destinations. Metrojet is a new low-fare airline in the Big Easy. It's a subsidiary of U.S. Airways that's been flying since June. Metrojet flies to 12 U.S. cities, including 5 in Florida. A centuries-old tradition, back in business, and a sweet surprise replaces traffic tickets in tonight's New Orleans in a minute.
Certificate for a free half-gallon of Blue Bunny ice cream. You can obtain right here. It's right.
Kenner cops rewarded many drivers with gift certificates for free ice cream. Drivers obeying the rules of the road and properly buckled up were pulled over for the prize. The lucky winners got a gallon of Bluebell ice cream at the nearest Schwegmann's. A new exhibit has arrived. The traditional art of Japanese figure painting is on display at the New Orleans Museum of Art. The art depicts subjects based on Buddhism and Japanese folklore. And finally, the doors have reopened at Longview Gardens. Today, visitors stroll through the 8-acre estate. It had been closed for 2 months for restorations. Right now, work continues on the Discovery Garden. It's one of several themed gardens surrounding the mansion. Visitors can take in the sights Mondays through Saturdays. And that's tonight's New Orleans in a minute.
It's playoff time for the Zephyrs. Harry McCullough has the highlights and all tonight's sports next.
And after sports, even gas guzzlers get to cash in on McGuire's home run hit parade.
Oh, no. Give me the bat. Stance is all wrong. Check this out. Come to Papa.
The Saturn wagon. With easy-to-maintain, dent-resistant doors.
Good pitch. I'll see you guys later.
I'm glad the workers finished the deck while I was away. To celebrate, I'm having a few of my new friends over for a small barbecue.
Dixie, meet my in-laws.
We couldn't find a sitter.
This is my new boyfriend.
I wonder if there's a listing in the Real Yellow Pages for emergency chicken. Am I glad to see you?
Thanks for having us all over for the weekend, Dixie. Yeah,
weekend.
Use the Real Yellow Pages from Bell South.
It just tastes better.
Some judges make our streets and homes safer. Some judges don't. Some judges help victims of crime. Some judges don't. Judge Susan Shahardy is a tough, hard-working judge with a record of putting dangerous criminals behind bars, giving career criminals some of the longest sentences in Jefferson Parish history. That's why Judge Shahardy received the Outstanding Judge Award from Victims and Citizens Against Crime. Jefferson Parish needs a good judge, like Susan Shahardy, Court of Appeal.
My father was a New Orleans police patrolman for 26 years. He walked a beat, rose to detective, and when he retired, the very day he retired, my brother joined the force and took his badge and served for 21 years thereafter. When I put on my robe and take the bench, I often think about my brother and my father, as well as the peace officers who on a daily basis expose themselves to danger in the interest of serving the public. That's why I'm a judge today.
Let's keep justice on the Supreme Court. Pascal Caligaro.
ABC 26 Sports with Harry McCullough.
Hi, everybody. There is actually baseball being played without Mark McGwire. In fact, it's postseason baseball as the New Orleans Zephyrs took on the Iowa Cubs in the first round of the PCL playoffs. This is a best-of-5 series with the first couple of games in Des Moines. And the Z started off early. That's Darrell Ward with the double. Carlos Hernandez and Casey Kendall will come in to score. 2-0 good guys. But the Cubs come back. Micah Franklin goes the other way. That's an RBI double. That will cut the lead to 2-1. Third inning, bases loaded for Alex Zinta. And not loaded anymore. Zinta to Cinta. That's a gapper. 3-run score. It was 4-2 at that point, but as we go to the scoreboard, we'll see that the Z's have come back. They're now batting in the top of the ninth, and they trail by a run, so they got to make it happen in the top of the ninth, or they'll be down 1-0 in this series. Calgary has a 2-0 lead over Fresno. That's in the third. Now, Mark McGwire, he must have had a home run hangover tonight. He and the Cardinals played before a packed house in Cincinnati. He got the nice standing O, and Mark batted twice, grounding out and then lining to left field. But then Big Mac said, look, you know, Disney World, all this stuff, I'm going to call it a night after the third inning. I think we can all sympathize, except those people that actually paid money to get in the game. The Reds went on to win it by the score of 6-3. Elsewhere in baseball, the pennant game, Chicago was a winner of Pittsburgh. No homers for Sammy. New York too much for Philly. San Diego leads San Fran in the second. In the American League, it's Texas by 8 over KC. Minnesota leading Anaheim. That's good news for the Rangers. And New York 7-5 over Boston. The Saints signed linebacker Vincent Smith today. Mike Ditka said the 9-year vet can back up at all 3 linebacking positions. They also officially signed the quarterback, Billy Joe Tolliver, who practiced and said he'll be ready to play on Sunday. But the real quarterback question surrounds the health of Heath Shula. If he can't go, the Saints will go shopping again.
That's not a closed issue, but right now I have to go that way. We have an off week next week, and then we'll evaluate things a little different with the off week.
In Baton Rouge, LSU has a new role-playing defense, and former Carver linebacker Arnold Miller loves his. Miller is the rush linebacker, meaning he's responsible for sacking the quarterback. Number 98 really came on in that one-game role in the Independence Bowl where he had 2 sacks and 7 tackles against Notre Dame. He promises at least double digits in sacks in a full season.
far as last year, I had 3 gap, I had 7, 8. I had to play so many different gaps. My mind was just, I was just thinking, well, I should be here. Yeah, you know, and now I just have 1 gap to think about and just react.
On Saturday, Tulane's Jamaican Dortez had a career day in the opener against Cincinnati, but he did sprain his knee in the 4th quarter. He was listed as doubtful for this weekend's game against SMU, but I wouldn't count Jamaican out just yet.
There's a time where, you know, where you just sit back and watch things happen. There's a time where you make things happen, and I think that's the time for me to go out there and make things happen.
The IRS couldn't get the gift tax on Mark McGuire's home run ball, but they are going after Mike Tyson's mansion. They put a $6 million lien on his house in Farmington, Connecticut. He's actually been trying to sell it for over a year for $22 million, but officials in Farmington say that may be a little overpriced, like it's appraised at $4 million. Finally, over to tennis. Hingis, Novotny, and Davenport already in the semifinals for the women. Arantxa Sanchez Vicario here taking on Venus Williams. Vicario wins the first set, 6-2, but she only won 2 games the rest of the way. Venus was on fire, 6-1, 6-1, so she advances to the semifinals.
Turnaround by moved extremely well.
All right, that'll do it for sports. We'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, thanks, Harry. Well, the celebration of McGuire's long drive into history is taking some unusual forms throughout the country, particularly in the Detroit area, where the celebration has turned into a real gas. Drivers are pulling into an ultra-served station for 62 cents a gallon gas, 1 cent for every one of Big Mac's home runs. Prices go back to normal tomorrow.
Meanwhile, Mark McGuire memorabilia is already on the way to hungry baseball fans. 3,200 limited edition baseballs should be in sports shops by the end of the week. The balls feature McGuire's jersey number and the winning record number stamped on the front. They'll sell for about $10.
These ladies are tipping the scales with looks, personality, and self-confidence.
The big and beautiful contest, plus all of your winning numbers when we come back.
Universal Furniture is closed Thursday until 5 to get ready for our famous Moonlight Sale. From 5 to 10 p.m., all 3 Universal locations will reopen for a gigantic store-wide clearance. Save 40 to 70% off hundreds of items store-wide, many below cost. Unbelievable reductions on living rooms, dining rooms, bedrooms, bedding, and slightly damaged floor samples. Clearance prices on one-of-a-kind electronics and appliances. Free prices every hour, Thursday only, 5 to 10 p.m. at all 3 Universal locations.
Oh, hey, by the way, while you're at the marketplace,
come save on a dinner classic. Winn-Dixie has Sanderson Farms Grade A whole chickens for only 58 cents a pound. Bring home 3-liter bottles of refreshing Coca-Cola favorites at a very cool 88 cents a piece. And swing by the produce department for a bunch of Harvest Fresh California red and white seedless grapes, now just 98 cents a pound.
While you're at the marketplace, Winn-Dixie Marketplace.
He encouraged his daughters to run by running with them, taught his son about hard work by working with him. He doesn't just talk about family values, he lives them. His beliefs are deep. He teaches religion, an honored former legislator, a respected businessman and attorney. For 10 years as district judge, he's brought common sense to criminal justice. Principles, not politics. Judge Chuck Cusimano, a judge of character for the Supreme Court.
When I decided to go back to school, I chose
the University of Phoenix because it's designed
for working people like me who can't afford to put life on hold while we earn an undergraduate or graduate degree.
We're all working adults.
Even the instructors. And the programs are accredited.
That's important to me. My kids call it
college for grown-ups. I call it a dream come true.
Call a University of Phoenix enrollment counselor today for information about our graduate and undergraduate degree programs.
It's the University for working adults.
We'll save you a seat.
Eternity for Men, Calvin Klein. Your gift with any $32 Eternity for Men purchase at Dillard's.
You got the hairpin.
Now you're in the friend zone.
I think it's winning.
You gotta have friends all week long.
You're watching ABC 26 News, and here are tonight's lucky numbers.
And finally tonight, paper-thin models like Kate Moss may be in vogue in the United States, but overseas, the Rubenesque look is making big strides on the runway. About 50 buxom, bikini-clad ladies are strutting their stuff in Israel's big and beautiful beauty contest. The contest honors lovely large women and the men who love them. Organizers say the pageant is long overdue and proves you need not be a size 6 to be sexy. That's ABC 26 News to this hour. Thanks for joining us. Our next edition is tomorrow morning with Tom Bagwell.
Nightline is next. Have a great night.
With